When most people think about money, they think about the effort it takes to make. If they think about slaving away at their 9-to-5 job, either punching away at their keyboard or working manual labor at a construction site, there is no doubt in the fact that her income can be affected by your physical efforts. However, money has many mental aspects as well that people often overlook. These mental aspects range from tricking us into spending more money to being able to make money ourselves, and in this video, I will share with you 5 psychological money tricks you must know immediately. Trick number 1: mental accounting. Let's start off by identifying a situation where your mentality may be hurting your financial situation. By nature, money is fungible,
which means every dollar has the same value regardless of how we get it or store it. But our brains didn't get that memo, so we treat different types of money differently. We're tempted to splurge with windfalls, for example, or to be more careful spending cash than using credit. For example, when you last received money for your birthday, what did you do with that money? Did you save it? Probably not. You probably saw that money as extra cash and spent it on that new phone or gaming console you wanted. However, like we just said, money is fungible, meaning that the $200 you received for your birthday is the same $200 you would receive from your employer on payday. The only difference is the source it came from. Succumbing to poor mental accounting will leave you making unadvisable financial decisions, but luckily you can use this mindset to your advantage. You can put this mental accounting to good use by creating multiple savings accounts, each labeled with your goal for the money.
For example, you could create accounts called Vacation Car Repair Fund, Home Down Payment, and so on. Online banks and credit unions typically make this easy by allowing you to create and name numerous sub-accounts without minimum balance requirements or fees. Labeling and segregating money could help you keep your hands off of it. While you might dip into a general savings account for a questionable purchase, you may resist the urge if you can envision having less money for your vacation or not being able to pay for a much-needed car repair. Trick number 2: the reciprocity effect. You're finishing up your meal and you begin to calculate in your head how much of a tip you should leave your waiter. You think you've got the number figured out, but as he hands you the bill, he slides a candy on the table to thank you for being such a great guest. If you've ever experienced this, then you've been the victim of the reciprocity effect.
Reciprocity effect, introduced in Dr. Robert Cialdini's book Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. The concept of reciprocity is explained that if someone does something for you, you will naturally want to do something for them. Now you may be thinking that there's no way you're going to let a mint change how much you will tip at a restaurant, but studies say otherwise. According to studies performed by Dr. Robert Cialdini himself, when servers bring a check to their patrons without a mint, the diners will tip according to their perceptions of the service given. With 1 mint, the tip jumps 3.3%. 2 minutes, the tip jumps through the roof to roughly 20%. But it's not just waiters who are getting rich by using the power. Reciprocity retailers have been known to give gifts or discount coupons to their customers, which then trigger inner guilt in these shoppers to spend at least some amount of money after having been the recipient of what is framed to be a kind gesture.
This effect preys on a desire to be consistent with our good nature and treat people as well as they treat us, which in this case makes our wallet a little bit lighter. Now, this is how the reciprocity effect can drain your bank account. But when you employ this psychological tactic, you can use it to make more money. If you run a business, this is easy. Say you run an online marketing company that improves search engine optimization for businesses. If you were to give them a free audit of their corporate web page and identify areas they could improve on, you will have given them upfront value that will trigger their need to reciprocate. This could be through hiring you on to do more work for them, or at least passing along your name to those who may need your services. From an employee perspective, this can be done by going above and beyond for your boss, working later and filling in when needed will trigger your boss to reciprocate and compensate you handsomely. When raise or bonus time comes around, therefore, while the reciprocity effect can cost you money, it can do the opposite when you know how to use it. Trick number 3: the end of time illusion. Think of the person you were a decade ago, what you thought was important, what you liked and disliked, how you behaved. If you're like most people, you've changed, but you probably also think that the person you are today is pretty much who you'll be from now on, regardless of their age. Adults consistently underestimate how much they'll change in the future. This illusion leads to the tattoo, mortgage, or marriage you later regret, but the end of time illusion could be beneficial if you use it to give your future self more rather than fewer options. Here's an example: people who save for retirement often anticipate the freedom and leisure they'll enjoy one day. When they can quit work, they can imagine they'll ever feel differently as they get closer to retirement, though some realize that they want to keep work.
True. They want to keep working at least part-time for the extra money, the intellectual stimulation, and the social benefits. However, there are some situations that may even prompt your retirement years to come sooner than you would think. For instance, you may suffer a health event that limits your ability to work, or you receive a large windfall of money and can cut off the final few years of your career. Finally, like I just explained, your desires in life will change over time, and you may pick up a hobby that is rather expensive, which will change your financial situation in your golden years. Perhaps you will catch the travel bug and want to visit new countries, or will want to take up a new sport. This is all to say that with sufficient savings you typically have more options. You could quit work part-time, work full-time, take a break and return to work, or start your own business. If you haven't saved, you may have little choice but to keep working.
So always be aware of the end-of-time illusion. Trick number 4: inaccurate discounting. Our hardwired preference for short-term payoffs, even when we would get more by waiting, is known as inaccurate discounting. We know we need to save more for retirement, or pay down debt, or build an emergency fund in the moment, but we want to spend our money in other ways. But inaccurate discounting can be leveraged to create good outcomes as well.
Behavioral economists have designed interventions where people commit to saving a portion of future raises. The economist figured opportunities to save future income would be considered more attractive than giving up current income. They were right. Retirement plan participation and contribution rates rose at the companies that tried this approach. Saving future income is also the idea behind automatic escalation. Many 401k plans allow you to sign up now to increase your contribution in the future by, say, 1 percentage point a year, and some plans have automatic escalation as the default. The IRS also offers a Save for Tomorrow plan.
You can split the direct deposit of your next tax refund, sending part to your savings account and the rest to checking. It would be great if we were already rational and could count on ourselves to make smart decisions, but since we aren't and we can't, using these workarounds can help us get better results with our money. Trick number 5: the scarcity effect. You're researching tickets for your upcoming vacation, and on a screen flashes only 3 seats left at this price, so you open your wallet key and your credit card information and hope that you didn't just make a terrible mistake. The scarcity effect is one of the oldest psychological tricks and is certainly one of the most powerful.
In 1975, a study was conducted to see how scarcity affected people's perception, and what better tool to use than do this with cookies. Researchers put 10 cookies in one jar and 2 of the same cookies in another jar and asked participants to rate their taste. As it turns out, the cookies from the 2-cookie jar received ratings twice as high as the 10-cookie jar, even though the cookies were exactly the same. This psychological phenomenon relies upon the economic principles of supply and demand that states that the scarcer an item is, the more valuable it becomes. This effect is often seen in the housing market. As soon as the number of houses for sale becomes limited, people become willing to pay much more than the market value, as they perceive the remaining inventory of houses to be more valuable. This is why we jump at the chance to buy things in limited supply, which oftentimes is just a ploy to get us to think less and spend more. Now, I'm sure we've all felt that sense of urgency come over us when something we desire to possess becomes scarce, but knowing how this effect operates will not only help you save money, but can dramatically increase your income on the spending side when you feel that tightness in your chest as the urgency sets in. Ask yourself, is this logically the last unit of this item I desire? When you remove emotions from this equation, it is much easier to make a decision that is in line with your best interests. On the income side, using the scarcity effect can be powerful if you run a business. Then using urgency shock to trigger customers to buy your products is an obvious strategy to employ. However, your options to use this effect aren't as evident as an employee. Say you work in a tech company as a sales agent. Let's say you have skills that are comparable to all your peers, meaning that there will be no reason for your employer to pay you any more than your colleagues.
Then let's pretend your company suddenly gets engaged by a large French company looking to buy $25 million worth of hardware a year. You, being the only French speaker in the company, then possess a skill set that becomes uniquely valuable. Not to mention, French isn't a language that is common in your city, so replacing you would be no easy task. All of a sudden you become A scarce resource for your business, and wanting to ensure the success of this ongoing deal, your employer will now feel the need to place more value on you as an employee. This is when you gain leverage to negotiate with your employer a higher salary or bigger bonus and ultimately increase your income.
Therefore, while seeing something you want as being scarce can cost you money. When you succumb to the motions that it invokes, when you can use it to your advantage, it can be wildly powerful. Hey, it looks like YouTube thinks this next video is the one that will change your financial life forever. Give it a watch, and let's see if there